Guess what, everybody? The Dong Report is back. The MLB season starts tomorrow, and because of that, the Dong Report returns as well. It's only a 2-game mini series for the next 2 days, but still exciting stuff. We'll have a Dong Report for tomorrow's games. We'll have a Dong Report for the next day's games. And then once we officially have opening day, we will have a Dong Report for those as well. For those of you that are new to my channel and weren't following along last year, Dong Report means home runs. I give you my favorite home run picks of the day. And we had incredible success doing this last year. It's really what jump-started my entire YouTube channel in general. The Dong Report was amazing. To do a recap of how last year went, I went up 61.15 units with an ROI just above 10%. 60 units strictly betting dongs. I would give out between 3, 4, and 5 picks a day for home runs. Over the course of the season, individually, I normally would give them as 1 unit plays, but starting off, I'm only going to leave them for today as half unit plays. I'm going to have 2 picks in today's video. I would appreciate it if you are new, if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're new to my YouTube channel, subscribe. And then, of course, for this specific video, like and comment. But that is enough of that. Let's get into these Dong picks for tomorrow. For our first pick, obviously, this is in the Dodgers versus Padres game. I'm taking Max Muncy to hit a home run plus 360 odds at FanDuel. So before I give you my analysis for Muncy, I just want to do a real quick recap of the things I look for players to hit a home run. Number 1 is I look at the weather, and the weather in relation to the stadium as well. Is it a hitter's park? Is it a pitcher's park? Where is the wind blowing? What's the temperature like? All that stuff you can learn about whether it's going to be a good home run day or not. And my source for that is Ballpark Pal. Phenomenal website for weather information. Then the next thing I want to look at the batter, but I specifically want to look at the batter's ISO rate versus the handed pitching of the starting pitcher. So what's his ISO rate against right-handed pitching? What's his ISO rate against left-handed pitching? That stuff is important. And I look at barrel rate as well. If you don't know what those 2 things mean, I'll explain them when I go through my pick for Max Muncy. And then I like to look at the matchup versus the pitcher. Is there any success? Have these 2 gone up against each other? And then I also want to look individually at the pitcher and how they fare against the type of batter that we're facing off against. Home run per 9, home run to fly ball ratio, all that stuff is important. And again, I'll explain the numbers as I go on. I just wanted to kind of give a very quick recap of what I look for. But to start for this game, the weather's pretty good. It's not among the juiciest games that you'll ever see for baseball games, but according to Ballpark Pal, it has a 6% home run increase, and that's over a completely neutral situation. Again, it's not the best weather you'll ever see in the entire world, but hey, it's at least positive. So first pick, starting with Max Muncy. If you remember anything about last year, the book on Max Muncy is that he's significantly better against right-handed pitching than he is against left-handed pitching. Obviously, Yu Darvish is a right-handed pitcher, so that checks the box. To illustrate that point even further, so ISO rate is what we're going to get into next. ISO rate stands for isolated power. Literally just measures how much power a batter has when they get a hold of the ball. How much power do they have? Muncy's ISO rate against left-handed pitching is down at 22.3%. That's actually considered good, but not great. For context, this is defined by FanGraphs. Anything between, for ISO rate, 20 and 25% is considered good. Anything 25% and above is considered great. So his ISO rate against left-handed pitching is 22.3%. Against right-handed pitching, his ISO rate jumps all the way up to 28.1%. Obviously, that's in the great category. And if you just look at literally any stat possible, he's significantly better against right-handed pitching than he is against left-handed pitching. Average, batted ball percentage, WOBA, anything you want to look for, WRC, literally any stat you can think of. He's better against righties than lefties. Now, I don't look a ton at spring training stuff specifically, but you can get spring training stats. He's hit a couple home runs in spring training, and his ISO rate is an absurd 42.9%. Now, obviously, you take that with a grain of salt because it's spring training, but at least he's been seeing the ball well, and he's been hitting the ball well. Now, the next stat I'm going to talk about is barrel rate. Barrel rate literally measures how well you hit the barrel of the bat when you make contact. So swings and misses don't count. Foul balls do. When you make contact, how often do you barrel the ball up? Anything between 10 and 15% is considered good. Anything 15% and above is considered great. As for Max Muncy, his barrel rate is up at 14.6%. So he's great in the ISO rate category, and he's very close to great, but only good in the barrel rate percentage as well. That's awesome. Now for the matchup against Yu Darvish. He has hit a home run against Yu Darvish in his career. I think it's 24 at-bats in his career. He has hit a home run, so some success against him. And he's obviously a great pitcher, but he gives up a little more power to lefties than he does righties. And the stat that I'm looking at here is just home run per 9. How many home runs does he give up per 9 innings? It's up to 1.23 home run per 9 against lefties, down to 1.14 against righties. Obviously, Muncy is a left-handed batter. Now, for context, that home run per 9 of 1.23 doesn't sound that bad. It actually is pretty bad. If you look at all of the season last year and all of the qualified pitchers, a home run per 9 of 1.23, that would be the 14th worst in the entire MLB of all pitchers that qualified in that category. So to summarize, Max Muncy is a left-handed batter who's significantly better against right-handed pitching. Yu Darvish is a right-handed pitcher that gives up more home runs to lefty batters. That's a perfect recipe for Max Muncy. That's my first play. I promise not every pick is going to be that long of an explanation. I just had some stuff to explain. Next up, obviously in the same game, Dodgers versus Padres, I'm taking James Outman to hit a home run plus 560 odds at FanDuel. So he is a left-handed batter. I don't need to give you all the stats about Yu Darvish against lefties because obviously I just gave you that. But that is a pretty good situation to start off, the fact that he is a lefty. Outman has 6 at-bats in his career against Yu Darvish. One of those times, in one of those at-bats, he took him yard. So I like the fact that even in a little bit, limited sample size, he does have some success against him. And Outman is also pretty similar to Muncy in that he's significantly better against right-handed pitching than he is against left-handed pitching. And his splits are dramatic. It's like the most dramatic splits between lefties and righties that I've ever seen. So his ISO rate against left-handed pitching is an obscenely bad 0.54%. That is gross. I might be able to have enough at-bats to have an ISO rate of 0.54%. Maybe. Look at that against right-handed pitching. That jumps all the way up to 23.8%. That's in the good category, not great. I'll almost never go anything below 20% for ISO rate, so I like the fact that he's in the good category. Totally fine for us. Also, similar to Max Muncy, has had a pretty good spring training. He's hit 2 home runs, and he's got an ISO rate in spring training specifically up at 33.3%. Again, that's not the most important thing in the world, but it's at least nice that he's not struggling in spring training. His barrel rate last year was 11.1%, which again meets the threshold of being good. And those are our 2 picks for the Dong Report for tomorrow's games. Max Muncy, James Outman. I didn't pick Shohei Ohtani because he doesn't have any at-bats against Yu Darvish. I also didn't pick Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman because they're better against lefties than they are against righties. I figured I would just go with the 2 guys that are good against right-handed pitching, the lefty batters. But we will see. That's all we got. 2 dongs for you guys to lock in, or make sure to like the video, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And the last thing I mentioned, it's the last thing I mention at the end of every video. I do have a Dub Club. It's only $5 a month, and I'm not trying to sell you on some sort of VIP picks package. Basically, the way it works is the plays that you see me give out on YouTube, whether it's the Dong Report, whether it's NBA for football season, whether it's my NFL player props, everything that you see me give out for free on YouTube or on Twitter, I first send out on Dub Club. So if you don't care about the YouTube videos, but you want to tail the picks, the Dub Club is for you. If you don't always have time to watch YouTube videos and you want to make sure that you're able to get the picks in, the Dub Club is for you. Or sometimes the odds change by the time you watch the video and people get frustrated. They're like, hey, I want to lock in these picks, but the odds change by the time I'm able to get to them. That's what the Dub Club is for. It gets sent immediately to your phone, so you can just get them sent directly to you. You don't need to worry about anything. Whether you want them for $5 a month on the Dub Club or whether you want them for free on YouTube and Twitter is totally fine with me. And that's all we got. So I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.